So the article that we chose to talk about is the recent bid that Xerox put out to acquire the company HP. So Xerox is a national and global printing company, so they sell and manufacture printers around the world, as well as HP does similar activities, but they also have a variety of different products that they sell. So recently, the situation is that Xerox sold 25% of their stake in a joint venture that they had with Fujifilm, which amounted to about $2.3 billion. And with that $2.3 billion that they got from this venture, they set their sights on a company called HP. And so Xerox offered HP a $33 billion bid for a cash and stock offer. And specifically, the offer is to acquire HP for about $22 to $23 per share, and it would be paid in cash and Xerox stock. And in order to fulfill the cash option, Xerox, they have a deal with Citigroup, who will finance the acquisition. So this acquisition for Xerox can potentially create $2 billion in annual cost synergies for the company by merging the two businesses, and this is also a deal that HP is just currently considering at the time.
So the first link that we found from the article that goes with the class is through economies of scope. Economies of scope are a proportionate saving gained by producing two or more distinct goods when the cost of doing so is less than that of producing each separately. And when a company can produce goods more efficiently and cut costs by doing so, this creates value for the firm. Economies of scope provides value through two different ways. First is corporate relatedness and transferring skills or corporate core competencies among units, or the other, operational relatedness and sharing activities. How does this relate to the Xerox and HP bid that we just talked about? Well, first off, both companies are in the technology sector and they produce similar products. Xerox is in information technology, while HP is in computer hardware, computer software, IT services, and IT consulting. For example, one of the products that they both produce are printers, and through Xerox acquiring of HP, they will be able to produce a more efficient manner in producing, manufacturing, and selling printers, thus saving them money. And in fact, in the article, Xerox believes that it can achieve at least $2 billion in annual cost synergies by creating an office technology supplies giant. This just goes to further prove how economies of scope applies in Xerox acquiring of HP. Now I'll pass it on to Nico to talk about the next link.
So now we're going to talk about how this relates to mergers and acquisitions. But first, let's talk about what mergers and acquisitions are. A merger is when two firms agree to combine their operations on a relatively co-equal basis. An acquisition is when one firm actually buys a controlling stake or up to 100% of a different company and overtakes their operations. And a takeover is an acquisition which the target firm did not solicit from the acquiring firm. So now let's talk about how this applies to HP's case. They actually have a very unique situation because they're the smaller firm and they're trying to acquire a larger firm than themselves. And in most cases, that is not what happens. And it provides a very unique setup for them and creates a lot of value in the process. Some of the reasons are listed behind me why HP is being acquired by Xerox. And this includes lowering costs of new product development. Now Xerox doesn't have to do product development costs for laptops. They can just acquire HP and create their own laptops through the existing processes in HP. Increased market power. Now they have more product lines that they can offer to their customers. Lower risk than in developing new products. Now there's no risk associated with developing laptops for Xerox. They actually can just use HPs because they're already established and have a large customer base. Reshaping firms' competitive scope. Now Xerox wants to become a technology giant, which is very beneficial because now they can offer more due to this acquisition possibility. Increased speed to market. They don't have to worry about developing their own laptops or own printers because HP has all that already established for them, so they can just transition almost seamlessly into having those products. Increased diversification. They are now able to offer more products that they previously were not able to offer due to their size. And then lastly, learning and developing new capabilities. Like I said previously, they have new products now and they're new capabilities that allow them to create more value in the market. Now let's talk about some of the problems that Xerox might run into through this acquisition. They might have overpaid due to an inadequate target valuation, or managers might be focusing on acquisitions where they should be focusing their resources somewhere else. They might have over-diversified themselves, which could cause problems in the future if they try to continue to do so. Integration and acquisitions are very hard because you have to transition what the old company was doing into how the acquiring company operates. Instability to achieve synergy. Xerox has high hopes for that, but hopes might not always pan out the way they should. The debt that HP has is something that Xerox is taking on, which could cause problems. And lastly, if you get too large, it becomes more difficult to manage the company under one parent company.
So a summary of the potential acquisition between Xerox and HP is that Xerox offered a cash and stock offer worth $33 billion. HP is 3 times the size as Xerox is, and Xerox is worth $8 billion compared to HP being worth $28 billion. As Xerox is selling 25% of its stake in its joint venture with Fujiman for $2.3 billion, and Xerox has offered to acquire HP for between $22 and $23 per share to be getting cash in Xerox stock. At least $2 billion in annual cost synergies will be saved by Xerox by creating an office technology supply giant. So the links that we found between the acquisition of HP and Xerox with our class is that this creates an economies of scope. The values traded through economies of scope is one example, and Xerox and HP are in the same industry making similar products. Another link that we found was through mergers and acquisitions. A unique takeover that Xerox is planning for HP, and that Xerox is offered this strategically to HP since there was many changes in CEO recently at HP. And as a result, HP's stock price might go up and Xerox stock price might go down due to this acquisition.